Hello friends, this is your neurologist, Dr. John. Today I'll be continuing my series on improving sleep naturally. Today's video centers around helping people who wake up in the middle of the night and are unable to fall back asleep, helping them restore sleep naturally. Quite a lot of people do not realize that what they do at this time when they wake up in the night actually has a lot of impact in deciding whether or not sleep returns. Now, one of my patients whom I saw just last week, I found that they were practicing this habit and I had to point it out to them and let's see how it helps them turn things around. And that is the fact that a lot of people, when they wake up in the middle of the night, they just grab their phones and start to browse the internet or browse other stuff on it, hoping to fill up that time with that activity, pending the time sleep returns. And some of them get frustrated when eventually sleep refuses to come. Now, the reason I think this is a very terrible thing to do in the middle of the night when you're supposed to be sleeping and you're awake, what I think using a mobile phone at such times is a terrible thing to do. One is the fact that when you pick up the phone, you get exposed to the blue light, coming from the phone's screen. And that actually gives an unconscious cue to your brain to stay awake. So even though what you're wishing for is to sleep and you're just trying to distract yourself, with browsing on the phone, the contrary thing is what happens, because now the brain gets this cue from that excess light exposure that it should stay awake. So it's light exposure is one of those alerting cues or alerting signals to the brain. And that is why sometimes we ask people when they wake up early in the morning to get exposed to bright light to cue the brain to realize that now it's morning, when we want to kind of help people to reestablish what we call the circadian rhythm. So what you're basically unconsciously doing is that you're sending signals to your brain to now begin its day, to stay awake. So the second reason why it may not be a good idea to look at your phone when you wake up in the night is that now you get to see what time it is. And then that again sends you into panic mode, because when you look at it and it's 2 a.m., you start getting frustrated and thinking, oh, I've only slept 3 hours. How terrible my life is, how terrible my sleep is. And with that frustration, that panic, you're very unlikely to fall back asleep, because whatever gives you that puts your mind in that zone or state actually is inimical or antagonistic to sleep. To be able to sleep, you need that calm demeanor, that calm mental state, not something to upset you. Then number 3 is when you start to browse the internet, you may now, we all know how much time, we spend on the internet these days, how engaging it can be, how time consuming it can be. So before you know it, you might get carried away by things that are so interesting and you continue to surf. And then eventually you may not fall back asleep because something else interests you and stimulates you. And 4 is the fact that you may now begin to browse your mail and find something that you were supposed to do in the day or so, when you start to, get excited or start to get your mind engaged, start planning the rest of the day, what you're going to do next. So the best thing is to keep the phone away when you wake up in the middle of the night. So this is some of the simple cues that I was hoping to pass across through this video. Now, the second set of people that I think can benefit from this video would be people who also have difficulty initiating sleep from the get-go. There are people that when they get to bed, they find it difficult to initiate sleep. So in the same vein, when you use the mobile phone around that time, around bedtime, it does the same thing, it exposes you to light and kind of cues the brain to stay awake rather than falling asleep. So in summary, using the telephone or the mobile phone in bed is a terrible idea. So that's all I wanted to leave out here today, and I do hope you learned something. If you did, don't forget to subscribe, share, and like the video. I'd like to see your comments behind. Thanks for watching again, and I'll see you next time. Bye.